Hey, welcome back, everyone. If you're coming back to join us for the traffic management session, which is an interesting visual I have in my head, thanks, Jeff, for the Sage CRM roadmap. So the purpose of the next 15 or so is to quickly remind everybody of the strategy, the vision of the product, and what we've released recently, and to give you an insight to the roadmap. But that will be very quick because Jeff and I would very much like to hear from everyone as well. So we'll open it up for questions like we've been doing all day long with some of the other sessions too. So without further ado, let's jump into that.
I feel a bit strange because we don't. I feel a bit strange because we don't have cameras, and here I am. I've actually dragged myself to get a Hawaiian shirt to wear for you, David.
You haven't, have you?
I
No.
have, I have, but I'm not wearing. I'm holding it just in case I need to put it on. But we don't seem to have cameras on this session. I know
The
how much
people
you
that are
like
thanking
the
the people that are not
professionalism of
looking
my
forward to
Hawaiian
that.
shirts.
Yeah, exactly. They can all thank me later. So the Sage CRM proposition, a reminder on the screen for the way we talk about it online and directionally through the product websites around the world. This idea, affordable, adaptable, easy to use, straight from the box, that sits on top of Sage Accounting Solutions and others, of course, but the messaging and the positioning is all about on top of the Sage Accounting Solutions, to give people right across any business, whatever role they hold, a tool to help them manage interactions, people, correspondence, quotes, service tickets, the whole deal, right? And that's a very strong position about the additive value to the underpinning accounting product. The vision of the product itself is very much along these 4-5 lines, but in particular, reinforcing the fifth, right? This idea that we are helping our customers and you as a partner business, if you're one of those, helping you extend the return on investment from the underpinning Sage accounting solution. I also have a thing which we put together recently, which is very much approved by group strategy around the commercial strategy of the product. It's a product that's been around for a little while now, and it's recognized at the very top of the company as an important product in what we call the run for value portfolio. Don't worry about the terminology, it's different all around the world. Sometimes it's called diversified, sometimes it's called this. But the important message is it's a very high margin product to the group, and so they're therefore very well regarded and will be continue to be developed, sold and maintained in the foreseeable future. And it services very much a lucrative and growing market around the globe, around the geographies we sell. And that market is the customer relationship management product. It's a growth market in most every area of the world. And it gives partners, particularly, the capability to increase the stickiness of their customer base, as well as driving increases for them in licenses and service revenue. And this is deliberately skewed at partners, this particular slide. But I hope if you're a customer and you're listening into this, that you also understand that it's a great way of extending the investment and extending the use and the capture of data and processes and all those things that we've been talking about in some of the earlier slots today on top of your accounting system. So it's a very powerful product. It's a great scale in terms of functional reach and very flexible and ready to rock out of the box. Our most recent release was 2020 R1. I've got my green dot in the wrong place, but I was going to touch on the previous briefly. 2020 R1, ignore my green dot, should have been somewhere else. The most recent release, Jeff, you and I talked about this on a number of release webinars around the world.
Yes, and there's been. Do you want me to talk, or do you want?
No, I was just going to say, brought particularly an ActiveX change, and that was a big piece of work we did. I know you've talked about that on a previous session, but do you want to just jump on a couple of the others, Mail Merge and Nested, just as an example of other things that have gone on?
Yeah, there's within the product there was some things which look quite small in terms of changes, but they are actually quite profound because it represents an extension to the QA work that we were doing. So there's a very useful confirmation within the nested mail merge support. So we're used to the idea probably that you can go in and do a merge on quotes and orders. So quotes and orders will have the order lines But now you can go in and create your own customer relationship. So, for example, if you're a site that has much more of a focus on, for example, customer relationship, customer support, then you can create reports which embed service requests or tickets within the context of a company or a contact. So you allow for the parent and child to be included in the same mail merge. And there's a set of documentation and training materials that describe how to do that. We've also got within the MailChimp integration elements some changes around the detection and prevention of duplicate email addresses being sent across to MailChimp, so really improving the experience when it comes to setting up transferring a group across to become a static segment inside MailChimp. Within this, there's actually another important change which we haven't really called out, but it is quite profound, which is introducing the concept of uniqueness of an individual based on their email address. That is something that is we're going to be developing in 2020 R2 as well, so that we can use that for all sorts of integration with other things. And what we haven't touched on in any of the sessions here is sort of the number of different API choices that we've got to allow us to talk to things like Zapier or whatever. And that's where we've got capabilities, all because we've got this uniqueness now, alternative uniqueness inside the contacts.
Right. Okay. Thanks for that quick overview there. Just a reminder too, the idea is we're obviously building a roadmap and we build it with personas in mind. We're talking about sales personas, marketing personas, service personas, and we try and build out all of our narrative to give to the development team to explain what we're trying to do on behalf of those personas. This is a screenshot from the road mapping tool that people such as Jeff and myself and the rest of the team use. And this is where I certainly begin the thinking about these persona-based features. And this gives you an idea, an indicative idea. Don't take away from this that everything you see is exactly going to come out, because that doesn't work that way. But some of the things we've got in the future roadmaps, first of all, we have a 6-monthly release cycle-ish, and that runs out to 2022. Jeff and I are actually getting together next week to roll out or add on the end a couple more ideas and release schedule pieces there as well. One of the big things we're talking about is this OAuth EWS thing. Jeff, do you want to speak to that ever so briefly, and then we'll open up the lines?
Yes, authentication is one of the big questions. A lot of our development resource in this current 6-month cycle has been taken up with security. So I think I mentioned briefly in one of my sessions that we've got TLS patches coming out this week, which is to do with transfer levels security. But the OAuth 2 question is about the imposition now of or rather the removal of basic authentication across Microsoft products as a method of validation, and the requirement to use the Microsoft implementation of OAuth 2. So that's what we're doing. We're going to be doing that, and that has implications as well. We're queuing things into the within the dev backlog as well for other areas. But it does mean
what Elizabeth was saying earlier today, a lot of these things are being forced down upon us, aren't they, at the moment?
Yeah, we're at the moment we're in a phase. If you feel like we've just moved out of a phase where we've done a lot of thinking about the APIs and the fitness of CRM to be able to talk to other systems, and we're now moving into another phase, which is unthankfully, is that the right word? Anyways, it's imposed on us. It's something that we don't want to do, but we have to do because it is changes to do with changes to the security, changes to really outside pressure that don't visibly do much for us, but actually we'll probably be using this for thinking about what advantage we can spin out of it in 2021 cycle.
So while I just wait, and I'll put out a call again, if you've got any questions, fire them into the chat window right now. We have another 5 minutes remaining on this very quick session. Jeff, the API piece that we released last time it speaks to the larger theme of us, the product generally being opened up, so more people can do things in and out, right? This will
Yes,
continue.
we have some real frank realities, which is that we can't do everything. And when we look back at what we've done in the past, we realize that we've not been experts in that particular area. And for example, the social media integrations that we did, they were functional. They showed how it could be done, but I don't think we really sort of covered ourselves too much in glory in that. But what we have done is to make sure that anyone can come along with the development tools and to be able to do the integrations that they want to do in the tools that they can have. If people have sat in on Mark Reedy's presentations, for example, you can see the power of the APIs to allow for extensions to add value into the Sage CRM environment.
Yes, and I think that's a very good point to sort of really ram home the API discussion. It's about being realistic with the development resources at our disposal, and the reality of the world, people wanting to do more things with CRM at the heart, punching data in and out, pushing data around the business. And you see that with Mark, because Mark's fulfilling a gap with the mobile app that is arguably better than ours, and also with the accelerator add-on, which I think is a nice way to drive adoption, as he self-described earlier.
And we do have a commitment to continue the development of the APIs and broadening them out. So we'll see some changes in 2022. We'll see some changes to support the way in which internally we do the work with, say, MailChimp, but also we'll be doing some improvements to the way in which the RESTful API is working. And it's the RESTful API that is the direction of travel, really, in terms of what we want to do.
Yeah, I think that's true. So the underpin, at the risk of repeating myself again, it's all about taking what is arguably a very well-featured product already and addressing it to the base of people. If you remember my slides from this morning, the opening session, addressing it to a base of people that really have very little, if anything, in terms of CRM capability. It's Excel, it's Outlook, it's file shares. And then giving them a way to say, what more could I do with my underpinning account system? And what can I add for the functions around my business, marketing, sales, service, in whatever sort of business they are? So that's the vision of the product, and the commercial strategy is value add for everybody. So I haven't received any questions. That may be a good thing, it might not be, but we do need to bring it to a close. So thank you for listening. Hope that's useful. We're available after the call. Of course, you can fire up messages at any point, but I will close down because I know Danny wants to do a closing session of his own in about 2 minutes time. So for now, thanks, Jeff.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, I've got nothing else to add. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending. We'll see you soon.
Okay, thanks, bye.